Hello guys, Young Man Junk here. I'm your host Alexander, and today I'm going to do a video on how to change your oil on any classic car. It's pretty much universal for every car, unless I think Volkswagen's different for a classic car. But anyway, Young Man Junk here. Today we're doing a video on how to change your oil on your classic car, mostly American. For example, I got my 1976 Dodge Sportsman with a 360 V8. It takes 530. So that's the first step that you want to do, is you want to find your right oil. In this case, I'm using 530 Castrol, and then a oil filter, your right oil filter. In this case, I'm using a Wix, which are pretty good oil filters. Then what you want to do is you want to find your hood release. Pop that up, even though that's not really a hood, we pop it up, and we get our oil down here. Keep that on standby. Now, what you want to do, let me get you guys down here. What we're going to try to film here is you want to get underneath your automobile. And you see this thing? That's your oil pan. That's where all your oil is. You got to drain that. So what you got to do is you got to find your right socket and fit it on that bolt there, okay? And then from there, you loosen it up. Don't unscrew it all the way. But once you get it loose enough where nothing's coming out, but you can just unscrew it, you get yourself your oil pan. Okay, you get yourself your oil pan. Make sure to get an oil filter wrench too. I think that's what they're called. Get your oil pan, put it underneath, and unscrew it. And once we do that, once we get to the part where we drain all the oil, I'll get back there. Okay guys, now that you got your hands covered in oil, once you get the bolt out, you're gonna let that drain all the way. Little tiny teeny drops, that's when you can plug it back up. Okay, you wanna clean your drain bolt off and put it in a safe place as your nice clean carpet so it can get oil stains everywhere, okay? Now, what you want to do is you want to start taking off your oil filter while it's draining. Oh, it's dripping now. That's good, see? All right, now, what we also have to do is keep an eye on this so it doesn't go everywhere. And move it. There we go. Then locate your oil filter. Usually on these old American cars, they're white, is what I found out. White or blue. Usually it's going to be on this side of the motor, and it looks like this, okay? Looks like that. We'll put that there, all right? Now, what you want to do is, keep saying this, sorry, but I think that's locked. Yeah, it is, okay. Well, your oil filter should be on your left side facing the front. So, let's see if we can get a nice view of this. Oh, always make sure your oil filter doesn't get filthy. Okay. See that right there? You can see it from here. Let's take that off. Unlock it. Okay. Now, I think this one's blue. See that little circular thing? That thing right there. That's your oil filter. You want to take that off with your wrench. Then, once we get to the next part, I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so you want to, in this case it's nice because the motor is right in the cab, so usually you're gonna have to get on the ground, but in this case I don't. So just loosen this and then get it off. Okay, now that we have this oil filter loosened, surprisingly that one's orange. It must have been changed recently. What you want to do is you want to see how it's just barely dripping. That's okay, unless you're in California, then sucks for you. But what you want to do now is you want to move your oil pan over here so you don't get a whole bunch of oil everywhere from your oil filter. Because when you take off your oil filter, it's gonna leak, not leak, but it's gonna have oil go everywhere. So, see, now make sure it gets all over the exhaust so it can smoke all day. See, there she goes. You can see how it's slipping there. Okay. All right, just go ahead and dump that in there. Put that right there in there. And yeah, so that's that. Get back to you when we get to the next part. All right, now what you want to do is, once you get everything drained out nice, is you want to get your new oil filter. And this is, I don't know where I was going with that, but you got to get your new oil filter now. Get yourself, oh, that's still dripping a little bit. We'll let it drip. Get yourself your oil over here. Because what you want to do now is what I was taught is you get your oil filter and you kind of just dip it in there. Not all the way, just to the surface. See? Just like that. Okay, now that you got your oil filter on there, you want to only tighten it hand tight. What I like to do is I like to give it one good snug down. I don't like the idea of just tightening it hand tight. It seems kind of silly. So I give it a good couple snugs like that. There you go. So now, what I always forget is to put the drain plug in. So make sure to put your drain plug in, or else you're gonna end up like me with oil everywhere. Okay. All right, got you guys back on the tripod here. Now, what you want to do is you want to get yourself a funnel and yourself a rag. I'm gonna make sure that your funnel's cleaned out. Make sure there's nothing but clearness in there. Make sure there's nothing. Make sure this is an oil strictly filter. Like, you didn't use it for anything else. Make sure that's cleaned up nice. Okay, now, what I want to do is I want to check the dipstick. See, should be bone dry, or dry, at least. Not bone dry, but should be dry. Run it back down in there. Remember to always tighten up your bolt, your oil pan bolt. Make sure that's always tight. When I was changing the oil on my Datsun, my 76 pickup, and forgot to put the drain bolt on, and a whole bunch of oil went everywhere. See? No oil. Okay. Well, I couldn't see that, but bueno, now. Okay, put that back in there. Okay, let's do a checklist. Got our oil filter on. We got the drain plug tightened up, and what I like to do is I like to wipe around it, just in case if you do anything wrong and it starts leaking, then you can know that you did something. By then it'll probably be too late, but at least you know it's leaking. All right, now make sure your filter's nice and clean. Pop that oil cap off. And what's funny is there's people actually, it's not really funny, but people took good care of this thing, and the oil is almost, it's used, but it's still all right. Get yourself your new oil. And we're gonna pour a little bit at a time to make sure there's no leaks and nothing. So yeah. So now, put your cap somewhere safe. Poke a hole in there. Make sure it didn't go in there. Looks pretty good. Smells pretty good too. Now, if you can on these kind of cars, get yourself a longer funnel, which I didn't do. But I'm gonna pour just a little bit at a time. Make sure everything's all right. And when that's pouring down, you want to look for leaks. Seems pretty good. So far, so good. Pour about half the bottle in for now. All right. Let that settle. Looks like there's no leaks. Got about half the bottle. Now, what you want to do since you poured half the bottle in is you want to check your oil. It's going to be empty, so don't get scared. It's going to be fairly empty. See, there's not even anything on it. So you want to, I just do that to make sure you're not overfilling, because overfilling can be bad. What I was told is overfilling is more harmful than underfilling. So make sure you try to get the right amount in there. Make sure you don't pour it too fast. Take your time. Okay. All right. Leave about a quart in there. See, I'm pretty good at a quart right now. Someone's coming to look over my other motorhome. Leave about a quart. We have peacocks, sorry about that. Leave about a quart. Wait about 10 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now check your dipstick. We're pretty good. We're on add, we're under add. So we're just gonna add the rest in. We're a little under add. So let's add the rest of the oil in, make sure that it's not leaking. Looks pretty good. Add that rest of that oil in. Almost just went topsy-turvy right there. Oopsies. And if you have a direct pan, you can just kind of check it. You don't have to wait 10 seconds or anymore because it'll just directly go into the oil pan, but you still want to wait a little bit to make sure everything's gone down. And then with the valve cover adding oil, I'd wait a couple seconds because it's got to go all the way down to the motor, through the heads, down, you know. So I'm gonna make sure that's pretty dry right there. This box, this carton, whatever you want to call it, gallon jug, I don't know. Make sure you get every little thing because oil's pretty expensive. You don't want to waste any of it. Joe Biden. Anyway, yeah. So let that drain out pretty nice. You don't have to get every single little drop in there because that's going to take years. So go ahead and actually leave that and put your oil in, and I think you can take it to Walmart or somewhere and have them refine it for a couple bucks, I think. So should be good. Put your oil cap back on. Clean it up a little bit first. It's a little filthy. Not too bad, but it is. Clean that up. Okay, put that back on there. It'll go on. please. What the heck? I never had a stubborn oil cap before. Huh. Being a little stubborn. I don't know why. Okay, there we go. Oh, that's real beautiful. Okay, I'll put that back up in there. There we go. Snaps back. Okay, now, in that time, that should have been 10 seconds trying to put that oil cap back on. So, in other words, wait 10 seconds. Check your oil. Looks like we're pretty good. Yep, we're good. Check it at least 2 times to make sure everything's good. Put it down in there. It's kind of hard to see in the light, so I'm gonna try to go in the shade and see if I can see the oil good. Let's go in the shade right now. See, it is on. It's a little under full, so it could use a little bit, but not much, which is okay. Now for the important part is it's gonna need more, probably, is what I just remembered, because your oil filter takes at least a quart, so you want to start it up, maybe let it run for 10 seconds, get everything in that oil. 10-15 seconds. So let's do that. Let's start it up. Check for leaks. Always check for leaks because that oil filter might leak. So let's start it up. Make sure everything's okay. Watch your oil pressure gauge. I kind of get nervous at this part. This is also a cold start, by the way. It's been sitting all day. If I can get my keys.
Connected.
What? Oh, that's my radio. Okay, now start this
The
up.
Bluetooth device is ready.
Okay. Make sure everything's okay. Okay. Let it warm up. Our oil pressure is good. Let's check for leaks. Okay. Everything's good. Doesn't look like we're leaking. Okay, there's no leaks, which is amazing. So shut it off. So now that you have done that, you have all your oil and your oil filter. You want to let your car sit for about 5 to 10 minutes so everything will drain back down. Then you want to fill it up with oil again, or whatever it needs, whatever oil it needs or how much it needs. So I hope you guys enjoyed how to change your oil on your American classic car, pretty much any classic car, and that even goes for modern cars too, some of them. And depending on your oil filter style, you could have the canister, which is like a bolt on the top. You unscrew that and you put it in, or you just have the screw in, which I prefer. A lot of 50s cars still have that. So if you have a 50s car, you most likely have a canister style, or a late 60s or 40s automobile. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please consider leaving a like or a comment, and check out the channel. We have some cool stuff going on, new purchases, new stuff, will it runs, all that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you're new here, thank you for watching and have a great day.